It's going to be part 3, where we talk about the ending and the rest. A continuation of our in-depth horror discussion of the scenes, our overall thoughts of the Amityville Horror, the original 1979. So we left off with a cop
talking to him because the door blew in, so they called the cops. Because they thought someone like busted in or something.
And he takes the detective and he lights the cigar in their house.
And the cop's like, "You got family here? You look just like him."
Oh, and he tells him he looks like Ronald DeFeo.
Because
he's got the Amityville Horror beard growing in the fall. And the house was like... And then the detective starts telling him that the house is broken in from the inside. He's like, the door was busted from the inside.
And George is like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah,
because he's coming.
Because the spirit broke from the inside.
But possessed asshole.
Cop's trying to put 2 and 2 together, of course.
He starts slowly becoming into a slowly possessed asshole.
As we know, the Amityville Horror.
So when the cops asking questions, he's just like, "I don't know, who said me yet?"
And the cop's been there for like 40 minutes, and he already sparks another cigar.
Yeah, he smokes one as he leaves,
and they're like,
his car stakes out the place, and he lights another.
This is what I'm saying. It turns into like a 70s crime-like story. At parts too. They combine a bunch of different movies: The Exorcist, The Omen.
So they're sitting on the porch crying, the wife and the freaking George. Like,
and Psycho. They steal a bunch of Psycho-style kills. That's also what makes it good, is it combines all those horror movies. Because those horror movies are classic.
They steal the score from Psycho at a point. It's the music exactly like...
Yeah, they don't have any of the many of the themes. Replay the theme. This is one of the good themes from the movie. Anyway, so the girl's talking about Jody again on the 12th day. And then George whips out the old motorcycle.
Like, hey,
he whips out the old Harley on the weekend. You know, those guys like whipping out the motorcycle for the weekend. Pulling it out of the garage. Or taking out the airplane for the weekend. Like, it's a Saturday, the sun's up.
It's the 12th day, yeah, 12th day Friday, it shows.
That's when he goes to the public library and he like pocket lifts like a book from the public.
Pocket it, he like wieners it. He like puts the book in his wiener.
Like he's 16 or something, like shoplifting.
Like shoplifting, like, hey, even though I own a house and everything.
They show that he's possessed, like, even away from the house. Like, the demon wanted the Lutz, like, and not just, like, them. Like, it's not just the house. It's just like him.
So then the wife's on the phone, and some guy shows up at the house, like, hey, and he's got the sniffles. And he's got a 6-year beer, and he's like, hey, we just wanted to welcome you in the neighborhood.
That's so random.
Even though it's the 12th
It's like a deleted scene. And he's like a hobo or something. He's like like the devil attract there. He wasn't...
He's like a town crackhead.
He's like the town drunk.
And he's like, hey, I just want to say, hey, that you moved in, hey.
And then George meets his partner at the bar.
Another crackhead.
His business partner. And the bartender mentions that he looks... Oh, this is the tagline, that he looks like Ronald DeFeo also.
He's like, yeah, the bartender gets scared, jump scared.
And he's just like... And he's just like, he sat in that seat the night he killed his family, too. Yeah, oh.
They made it right there.
Awesome horror
film. Oh yeah, that's the aspect of the story.
Because that is the true story too. After he killed him, he went to his local Stivers and was like, "Yeah, my whole family's dead. Help me. Also, give me a shot or whatever."
Stiverized.
And he's just like,
that means wasted.
You married a, and then the freaking partner's like, "All right, what's wrong with you, man? You're possessed." He's like, "You married a dame." He's like, "You married a slut with 3 kids, changed religions." He's like, "You got mortgages up the ass." And then George slugs him, of course.
And then he's like,
it's a fucking movie.
Like, all right, now can we talk? You feel better? And he's like, yeah, I don't know what came over me, man.
He's like, sorry, man.
Sorry, man.
Like, okay.
Like, this is the 70s, man.
Like, I got a little bit of my personality left with me. It's alright.
I'm not fully possessed
so then
yet.
Kathy starts...
This ain't the last day.
Then it's the Kathy scene where she starts talking to her daughter again and does the cat's eyes in the window.
Yeah, she gets scared because she looks out the window and sees...
They don't that it's a like cat this time. They represent it as like the demon that's like one of the demons that's haunting the house.
Some crazy creature.
So then it cuts back at the bar. then
simultaneously.
George is telling him about all the strange occurrences to his friend, and the girl, his partner's girlfriend, starts reading the book about Joseph Ketchum, and they put a witch like tie into it too.
Yeah, they tied that in.
And he's just like, a witch got kicked out of Salem from the book that he stole from the library. And he's just like, and she was just like, it cannot be killed, it can only change forms. Oh.
Pretty tight. So she's explaining the
You
story
gotta love New England
of how the site the houses are living at.
and the folklore of witches.
That people were dying there and that bodies are buried there.
Yeah, and in the remake, they make Ketchum
George.
like a freaking Indian slaughter.
So they're convincing George, like,
but according to them, all the witches were tortured there or whatever.
So they're convincing George, like, alright, listen, come back
their bodies
there,
were
we'll
taken
babysit the kids, you get out with your wife, get out of the house.
She's like, how about you? He's like, how about you take about my advice? You wash your ass. Replay the scene. And then at the house, the woman yells at him like, where they're buried in the basement. This is where they go. No, like, he doesn't even invite them there, but they're like show up in their driveway.
They show up to watch the kids, and you take.
And she's like reading the book at the local library. She's like, he's buried in the basement.
And his friend's wife just.
And they also show the dog like freaking scratching the wall.
Or a chisel axe out there, a pickaxe, and just starts picking at the wall.
So anyway, then George comes down like, what the hell are you doing? Oh, you're right, there is something back here. Because he could feel it, the presence, and the devil wanted him to freaking...
And the freaking... His
sledge the rest of the wall.
I'm sorry, I don't know what my wife's doing. She's out of her mind.
And then it's the infamous Red Room.
Oh, and you don't even know what's in it, even though it's just black suit muff.
No, then it's like a freaking fantasy like movie moment. After he cracks it open, it's like a reflection of his dome.
Yeah, it's retired.
What the hell?
It's like a cloud of his.
They're like, hey, let's throw that in the movie for no reason.
I'm like, hey, it's him. He's the key.
Okay, you're the body that we want to use to kill everyone. For you to kill your own family. It wasn't that aggressive for him. They didn't make him that aggressive. That's the one thing that I don't like about this movie. You don't feel that he's a threat enough to kill his family.
Yeah.
They don't do the horror good enough for him to kill his family.
So
that's why the remake's better. They do better horror slasher style.
Him talking to his wife, and he's like, "It wasn't a cat." Or she's saying that it wasn't a cat because she's talking about the eyes that she saw inside the window. He's talking to his wife about the eyes.
No, the woman gets possessed. No. And she's like, this is the passage to hell. The women that they were with.
I was going for.
Of course you were. You're a douche.
Alright, so then the chick that wanted originally to go in there and open it, who was scared of the house originally, she starts talking in tongues.
She's like the closest thing to a medium in this movie.
She's like,
In the true story, there is several mediums / psychics that went in, ones that could talk to the dead. And they sense spirits, including an Indian chief. That's why they wrote that into the storyline of the remake. Anyway, it cuts to them like drinking a cup of coffee like it's normal.
Yeah, drinking tea, like, hey, we're drinking tea.
Yeah, like, you wanted this place? What's your problem? And then it cuts to George, and they find the cross upside down.
Oh yeah, he comes to the kitchen, he sees the cross upside down, and then he's like, what the...
Then he goes to bless the sound.
And where they're going through all the house of it, and they're like...
He does a white trash version of Blessing the House.
And he's like, all who enter here... He does an acting version. You can tell they're hardcore accents. Alright, anyways.
And even on in the interviews of James Brolin, he's talking about this...
Acting was terrible.
Both of them were like, yeah, our acting was questionable at parts that we didn't like.
And then he's like, let's get out of here. And she's like, let's get out of here. And he's like, alright. And he's like, well, let me just check the wood supply burning downstairs.
No, and the cross burns Kathy like she's a vampire. They also toss that into the movie. So many random
Like the
things.
house was fighting back.
So many random things. And then it cuts to the 17th day. Wednesday. And then the priests are talking. And that's when the younger priests, it's the two priests like bouncing lines off each other throughout the movie, talking to the older one. He's just like, I believe we create our own demons inside our mind. So he doesn't believe his master. The apprentice is just like...
That's where it goes to the 17th day, yeah, where it's the rainbow shot when it crosses over through the trees, and then it's the church. And he's like, yeah, I believe we create our own demons, sir.
And then he does the sermon, and the place starts crumbling down like it's the Battle of Jericho or something.
Yeah, he's in the middle of Mass saying prayers, and then he's like, I'm blind.
He reads the passage.
And he just goes blind.
And you're like, I guess he's blind according to the script, everyone.
Exactly. Alright, so then he goes back and it's like freaking the 18th
Total
day.
movie.
He goes back and it's
at night. No, and then they throw another theme in there.
No, it's
Replay
the black
this
and
music.
red outside of the house. It's showing the shot. It's the
no,
black
it's
and
like
red again.
drumline, like Nick Cannon style, like playing. That's the theme playing.
Oh yeah.
And George is like trying to talk to the spirits, like get out of here or whatever, like for a moment. And then Kathy starts having nightmares and night sweats or something.
And it's storming.
And then that was just one day, and it was over. She's having.
No, yeah, she gets
she's
up.
having. It shows a nightmare of him killing the family.
She gets up and goes and sees him with an axe killing the kid, but it's just a dream, and she wakes up. I go.
And then it cuts to the 19th day already, and it does this awesome house outside shot of the house with quarter moon windows, and it's like red and it fades to green.
And then this
best one of the whole freaking movie.
This is where she talks to him, and he's like, I'm cold, and he's got the prop blood on his foot.
Yeah, I said freaking again.
He's got the prop blood on his foot.
Oh no, this is when he does the over-the-top acting, he's just like, I'm coming apart. He admitted that he hates that so much. He's just like, I got nothing but just prop blood on me when Kathy comes in. He's like, alright.
So then
He's like, I'm alright.
So then Kathy goes to see the priest.
He's flipping out.
And talks to
no, shut up. He slaps her in the face, you douche.
Wow, he slaps her?
How can you not remember that?
Nah, no, he slaps her.
He's totally feeling his oats at this point completely. And he doesn't want to leave. And he's just like, you wanted this house. Duh.
Yeah, he's like,
so deal with it.
Ah.
And they keep the freaking moments of terror like that short
and quick.
Yeah, it should go longer.
Quicker.
Longer. Anyway, then it cuts to the freaking nun playing basketball.
Cuts to her and she's like Shaq, freaking dumping on these.
How am I supposed to get in the horror mood when there's a nun playing basketball in the middle of this horror movie?
She's playing as number 6. And
if Platinum Dunes did that, everyone would be pissed off, like in a remake. If they did that in the remake, like what the hell?
And the cop like fouls the priest guy.
She tries to talk to the priest. You're like total filler right now, Elman. How about you talk?
She goes out back to talk to him, and it's the lackey priest that's been helping the main one out. And then freaking she leaves, and it's like the cop like watching him. He's like cashing a cigarette, throwing the last hit, blowing it out when he goes into the church. And you're like, wow.
Yeah, cigarettes, America's pastime.
So anyway, she talks to him like, hey, where is he? I need to talk to him, it's urgent. He's like, I can't help you. Anyways, so then it cuts him there.
Then it does he meets Delaney in the park with the river.
He meets the pastor in the park.
With the nice scenery.
It's like marble lion statues and gorgeous.
And the detective is tailing him because that was hot.
Like,
that was hot in the late 70s, the detective crime drama
so then
shows.
He's leaving. The priest, and he's coming up the stairs.
That part's like the Omen style, how the priest gets fucked up.
And the priest, and he's like, hey, what happened to the priest?
You know what I'm saying? The original Omen in this movie.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
He's like, you got some fan mail from some worthless people.
He's like, I want to know the story on him. And he's just like, there's no story. He just turned blind in the middle of Mass.
He's like, what? Nothing
And he's like,
happened.
"I really
It's
have to go,
normal.
sir."
He just turned blind in the
He's
middle
like,
of the
"Yeah, get
day
to the point, sir."
when he was
What,
saying
just turned
prayer.
blind. I gotta get out of here.
That's like the opposite of Christ. Fear no evil. No way the devil could come into the freaking... I don't know. It must have been a pretty strong presence of horror.
It's only if you give up.
And he's just like, maybe I'm just chasing shadows, the detective.
It's total filler.
So then it cuts to freaking Kathy researching the papers.
Yeah, it cuts to her at the newspaper, and it's so retarded.
And it's like the guy shows her how.
It's a guy showing her how to move the stupid
and she's
knob.
like acting like she doesn't know how to do it, even though it's the easiest thing ever.
She's like, move this black knob like this. That goes through him. Okay.
And then she finds the picture of George, like, murdering the 6.
And then it looks exactly like him, even though
it's supposed to be DeFeo. Like, what the hell?
But it's an exact photo of him, so then she realizes, holy crap,
and
it's
then,
him.
While that happened, it shows shots of George nailing down the window shut.
Yeah, it cuts back to him, and he's freaking completely possessed, like, freaking getting the nail gun. You know, they didn't have the nail gun in the 70s.
No, he's just nailing the windows.
He's nailing the windows.
So then it cuts to the Last Night logo, where it's just like, the last night. It doesn't even say day 28. They only stayed 28 days, but it's just the last night. And then it's George with the axe.
It's George with the axe.
Outside, and it starts raining with the freaking thundering soundtrack going, as we know. And you see,
tight.
and then George looks up and he sees the red-eyed puppet, like, in the window.
Oh yeah, it's like a freaking creature prop thing. Like, looks like a freaking dinosaur or something. Yeah, it looks weird. I don't know what it is.
Oh, and then there's only a little bit of like slasher horror in there. He swings the axe at Kathy, almost kills her basically.
It's like very brief, and then she like gets through to him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, let's leave."
She doesn't even have to kick his ass or anything. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm back to." It's just like all in one take, like it's Frankenstein, 1931 or something.
And then they're just all getting the kids out of the house. Is like, and then it's an earthquake. The house is all shaking. And they're like,
yeah,
an
earthquake in Long Island.
Hey, I know you just tried to kill me, but let's get the kids and let's go now.
No, the slime, the black slime. That shit is eerie and scary when you're a kid.
The psycho music, like freaking genre.
It starts seeping out the walls.
And it's like the shadows. Oh yeah, it shows like the blood or like the black juice seeping out the walls, and like the blood coming down the freaking stairways.
Then they all load up in the Kelso van.
They load up in the 70s Kelso van.
And the windows bust out from the earthquake also. Shut the hell up.
Wow. And then it's the earthquake, and then
they leave the dog behind.
They drive
they
away.
didn't even have George kill the dog in this movie.
Don't go back.
They tried to keep it closer to the original.
So they drive away halfway down the street.
The remake's more hilarious. They just make it more horror, and like the original, George Lutz was pissed off at this. He was about to sue Platinum Dudes.
Goes back into the house. And he goes back in because he forgets his blow.
Yeah, all in one take. They show him
blow supply.
he forgot his 8-ball and he goes running back in and he like grabs the dog and he's holding the dog like freaking baby
he goes
style.
To the basement. He opens the door of the basement when he gets back in there and it's all baked out down there. He goes back down there to get his O.
Oh, then this is when he breaks through
an onion.
This is everyone knows this. It's on like on every horror highlight reel where he freaking breaks through the freaking stairway and he falls into the black.
Yeah, but then he comes back up and goes back up the same stairway to get out. It's so retired with the dog, and it's like, okay, he had to walk over the hole.
It's the infamous puddle of like portal to hell of black slime.
No, it's freaking resin.
No, it's totally like
it's prop jizz.
But totally sanitary.
Let's leave it at that.
No, they totally cover them all in this.
Prop jizz, but totally sanitary.
I can't even believe he did this movie for that reason.
Totally sanitary.
I'm surprised they didn't get nowadays they would have made a stuntman do that, like get all the black slime over and do quick cuts, like.
No, and then the dog bites him too. No, and then it shows him like getting pulled out.
No, the dog helps him out. Like it turns into a Lassie movie. Like it has like a spirited ending, like an upbeat, like hey.
And then it's like hey,
it's a happy ending.
Hey, the O'Day family never came back to get their belongings. Now they live in California and collect money every time you buy their DVD.
So overall, I'd say it's a 7.
Wow.
There's a lot of good horror feels, but it's not good enough to be an 8 or a 9.
I'd say it's a 6.
It's not good enough to be one of the best classics, but I love the story of the Amityville Horror.
I mean, for its time.
I definitely got to see the
action,
Amityville
shots,
Horror 2
good time.
Possession. Haven't gotten a chance to see that. I think it's on YouTube. We gotta check it out. And then
Some of those special
they
features
just
are real
try
tight.
too hard at times to like be like all the other classic horror films that were like of its time that came before, like The
They
Omen
threw
in
in a mixture of
'76,
a whole bunch of different
The
films.
Exorcist,
And you're like, wow, you know.
Psycho. Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna be doing other reviews.
All right, we gotta
coming,
hold up. We gotta give a shout out to Eric Vierthaler.
Eric Vierthaler 92 is turning he's his senior this year.
So if you get a
we're giving him
chance
a
to do a
shout
keg
out.
stand, take it.
Yeah, if you get a chance to do a cake stand, take it. Just don't get herpes. Alright, so moving on, we got freaking...
He's got the horror movie marathon this October. He's doing a horror movie review every day.
Yeah, just don't get herpes.
Check that out.
Alright, so freaking... then we got our upcoming... this
We're gonna be
October
checking that out.
Halloween season. We're going to be doing, Saw. We're going to be doing Halloween.
Scream 1. We're going to be doing in-depth reviews.
We're going to be doing some more comic books for you guys to check out.
Coming soon this
The music
Halloween
playing.
season 2011 and the original Halloween. Also check out Zombie Lover. This kid's got
2005.
horror action figures. Nice collection.
Alright, leave a comment. Just
Leave a comment of your thoughts on the
tell us what you
Amityville
thought of
Horror.
it, and see you later.